welcome everyone to another fun episode here of Isles Talk, Season 6, Episode 14. Which way will the pendulum swing? My name is Paul Kreischer. I'm your host this evening. Joe was going to be with us tonight, but he had some emergency surgery that he was unable to join with us tonight. And Gary may or may not be with us as well. Gary's been very busy. Um, if you're an accountant, you know what he's going through. So, um, we'll have them back on the show fairly soon. So, before we get into the main topics here tonight, um, congrats going out to Brent Sutter, longtime Islander captain, inducted into the New York Islander Hall of Fame. Um, as far as I'm concerned, long overdue. Got us through the 80s along with LaFontaine, true captain. Um, and in all honesty, I was going to wait for Joe and Gary to come on, especially Joe. I know Joe loves Sutter. That's probably his favorite player. Joe will give Sutter more justice than I ever will. But congratulations going out to Brent Sutter. It's been very well deserved. And we wish him nothing but the best. Hope he comes back much more often, which would be a nice sight to see at UBS Arena. So, again, congrats to Brent Sutter. And for you guys in the chat room, who should be the next Islander Hall of Famer? I tried coming up with a few of them. For me, Jimmy Devellano, the former assistant general manager of the New York Islanders during those dynasty years, could be one of them. My heart always thinks Ziggy Palffy. Somewhere. There we go. Back corner over here. I don't know if Rick DiPietro is an Islander Hall of Famer. I don't think Alexei Yashin is a Hall of Famer. Leave your suggestions in the comments. Who should be the next New York Islander Hall of Famer? LaFontaine has already said no quite a few times. So yeah, let me know who you think. Yeah, LaFontaine has said no quite a few times. I like this one, Ray Ferraro. Short time, but he was very dominant in the time that he was here. We have Turgeon on, here. Kelly Rudy is another good one. I think if he played a little longer with the team that he had in front of him in the early 2000s, a case probably could have been made for Tommy Salo. I don't know about Jason Blake. Not here long enough. I like Kelly Rudy. I like Ray. I don't know if Ray would do it, though, although he is most remembered as an Islander. Maybe he would. That would definitely be a send-off for the 93 team, that's for sure. But a couple of good choices there. I mean, I think eventually, Josh Bailey's going to be in there. Probably Brock Nelson. Maybe Anders Lee. That's going to be a few more years down the road. Wayne Merrick. Maybe. Oh, yeah. He who shall not be named. Yeah. I don't know. That would be some kind of a healing process, let me tell you. I don't know if that would ever work. Nick, you cannot have the entire 93 team in here. Like the 93, okay, we love the 93 team, but no. The 93 team, they're not all coming into the Islanders Hall of Fame. That's just not happening. So I love the optimism. I love all of that, but no. So listen, big water cooler talk show here tonight, with Gary and Joe not here. You guys are going to be my hosts this evening as well. Um, Listen, nobody knows what Lou is going to do. That's the famous saying. Everyone hears it all the time. Challenge accepted. Okay. I'm not trying to say figure out, but I love getting an idea of what he's actually trying to do. Okay. And since I've been covering the draft now since, God, 2008, I've been kind of getting an idea of what general managers try to do. And when it comes to Lou, it's looking for value. It's always value. All the GMs go for value. Okay. And the teams that are in the hunt, shall we say, for players like Brock Nelson or Kyle Palmieri, I don't know if they have enough value to give in terms of picks and prospects. So before we get into those trades or those little armchair GMs, one moment here. There we go. Just checking there. Those last two wins by the Islanders were absolutely needed. I think that San Jose game was more like, where the hell has that been all season? But again, there's been injuries, but that was a fantastic game. And then to come back and win against Columbus, um, there was a slight thought in my head about the playoffs. Okay. Always believe, always a chance, right? For playoffs, right? But that was until I saw that injury to Noah Dobson. And then so I went from this to more like this. And it's just a situational thing. We don't know how long Noah Dobson's out for. And Joe, I think it was 2 weeks ago when he was on here with me, basically said there are a lot of teams to climb over. And the Islanders have to start winning and so on and so forth. And he is still correct on that. But the reason why I was getting into this was because at the beginning of the season, I said this was going to be a very weird time for the standings. Okay. Very weird time. And I had a little bit of optimism going on after that Columbus game, but before I saw the Dobson injury. Again, I have never seen this before. I've been playing the percentages now for over a decade. I have never seen this many teams in the Eastern Conference last this long for a quote unquote playoff hunt. Okay, and that's including the Islanders right now. Last year, the Washington Capitals made it to the playoffs with 91 points. That's been the lowest total for who knows how long. And before we continue, I want you guys to remember the number 94. And I'm not talking about the Edmonton Rangers. I'm not talking about that 94. 94 points. Hold on to that one. Okay? The Washington Capitals made it with 91 points. This year, what I've been seeing in the standings is that every team in 7th or 8th place, on pace for 7th or 8th place, with 93 points. Once those teams get out of that 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, they move up in the rankings. They get up to 7th or 8th. They're on pace for 93 points. And then they drop. They drop. No one touches 94. 7th and 8th place. And right now, Tampa's on pace for 94. Tampa's slowly dropping, and I don't know what's happening to New Jersey, but New Jersey's having issues. New Jersey's having a very tough time with this grind. They're on pace for 97. But the expectations for a lot of these teams is absolutely dropping in the standings. And this is why I was having a little more of this moment a couple of days ago. The Pens, as we know, they're going to be sellers. Whatever they can sell, they're going to sell. The Wings, I'm not convinced, have it all together to put something, to get them through the season. The Flyers, they were at 93 at one point. They were on a 93-point pace, and now they're down to 85. I don't know what if the Flyers continue to stick with their plan, they might end up being sellers, but they're going to look for the same kind of value Lou's looking for. Because Philadelphia technically isn't out yet either. The Rangers were in 7th or 8th place. Actually, they were much higher than that. And they're down to 87. And something really bothers me, and this is going to be a complete conspiracy theory. The Rangers had JT Miller set. And to my knowledge, could be wrong, that deal was nixed, other than the fact that Mika Zibanejad said no. There was another deal involved where it was a conditional first-round pick. But Vancouver didn't want a conditional first-round pick. The Rangers have enough talent to get back into the playoffs. Why would you go for a conditional first-round pick? You've got JT Miller on this team. He's going to get you into the playoffs. Why would the Rangers want a conditional first-round pick to be given out to Vancouver? So my conspiracy theory on the Rangers is this. How are the Ranger players going to play after the trade deadline? Are they just going to go ho-hum and skate around and wait until the season is over? If that's the case, Drury made the right move. If that's the case, it opens up the door for the Islanders. Again, this was all before, Noah Dobson had that injury. Okay. But this is for a little bit why I was on this side, just for a little bit. Boston still can't figure things out, but I don't know if Boston's completely out of it. The Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm rooting for them, but now they have injuries. They've got some long-term injuries possible. So how they handle that is going to be a big thing, but I don't know if they have enough in the tank to get them through the rest of the season. The Habs are on their run. The Senators look like they're trying to figure things out, but the Senators were also at 93 points. They can't get over that 94-point hump. The Habs are at 91. They're at their peak right now. Do they go up to 93? Do they hit 94? Okay, so I'm still waiting for that. I didn't say Miller was coming to the Islanders. Relax. I didn't say Miller to the Islanders. If I'm not mistaken, Miller already said no. Okay, so 94 points is that buffer, folks. And I'm not going to lie. These are teams that are really falling after they hit that 93-point pace. They're dropping to like 87, 89, 85. Who's going to be selling? When are they going to be selling? If they sell at all? No. No. I wouldn't do that to you guys. No, you guys have not gotten me that angry so far this year. If you want me to, I can. Don't worry about that. But no Miller on this team. My point is, there's an excellent possibility right now that an 8th place team in the Eastern Conference could end up with 89 points and still make the playoffs. That's how crazy an Eastern Conference standings is right now. Even the 7th place team, you may only need 89 or 90 points to get into the playoff hunt here. Because I don't think these other teams have enough depth to get themselves in. And before Noah Dobson got injured last night, and again, we don't know how long he's out for, I was a little bit more on this side. But with Noah Dobson, if he is out long term, I'm probably going to go on to Joe's side here, and I'm going to go boom, that kind of playoffs. I like this, Craig. Yeah. I don't know if you have to go to those extremes. However, I will say this, and this is why I said, this is about a pendulum swing here. Okay. I was going to do the show on a buy, sell, and hold. I thought about doing that. But instead, it's not even 9 games anymore. The Islanders literally have 5 to 7 games max. It's either that third game of 5, or that 5th game of 7, depending on the amount of wins that they can rack up. And it's a tough schedule after Philly. So while I agree, yeah, the Islanders need to go on some kind of a miracle run here, I don't know if they have to go 7-0-2. Only because of what I'm seeing in the standings here. To be fair, 9 games, I'm willing to go 5-2-2. 5-2-2 would keep them in the hunt. Can they do 5-2-2? Not without Noah Dobson. I don't think so. And if they do, welcome to this crazy season of Islanders hockey. Whether Islander fans know it or not, they need Noah Dobson. And if he's out long term, then we're looking at this. So let's stick with this thought for a moment. You're trading away. And let's do this. Let's do this again here. We need to do this because we don't want to get Gary in trouble here. Disclaimer, don't blame Gary. Don't blame Claire. They know nothing of this. Anyone who gets blamed, it's still Joe and I. Okay. So, moving on from that, we can tell you with confidence, again, from another reliable source, that the New Jersey Devils have now put their names in the hats for Brock Nelson. We still feel that Minnesota is still the front runner for Brock. We said that about 2 or 3 weeks ago now. But the New Jersey Devils have interest in both Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri. So that's the other team coming up. Now, here's the thing I wanted to talk about. Oh, boys and girls, for those people, for the fans that you talk to and, other people you follow and whatnot, if they simply go get as many picks as you can, start over, start from scratch, yada, 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 tune them out. Tune them out. Don't do that. Okay, remember, GMs are looking for value when you're trying to trade their players. In this particular draft, grabbing lower round picks for players like Brock Nelson or Kyle Palmieri, that's not getting value back. Those people either don't know about the draft or they don't care about the draft. If they don't care about the draft, that's one thing. If it's for going for the sake of starting over, just for the sake of starting over, okay, whatever. They still don't know anything about the draft. So I did a little extra homework for you guys. For those of you who have been following the show religiously, thank you so much. But for those of you who don't know, I've been covering the draft now since 2008. And what I did for you guys this past weekend, was that I took a dive in to this year's draft. And what I had been able to research was that this is one of those drafts. It's not bad. There's never a bad draft until years later. This is a draft where these young prospects are going to take a while. Okay, what's the definition of a while? 4 years. Solid. And as I was doing my reading, as I was doing my research on these players, and I've been reading some of the scouts reports, I didn't feel a lot of optimism in this draft, in the sense that I don't think you're going to see anybody make the NHL next season out of this draft. Not to say that these young prospects are going to be in the NHL. That's not what I'm saying. If they do make it into the NHL, it's going to take longer than some of the other drafts. Okay, so when Gary mentioned a second rounder for Kyle Palmieri a couple of weeks ago, I cringed. See, I'm cringing now, especially after what I know. Okay, that's not enough value for Kyle Palmieri. I will say this now. The Islanders, and again, with that whole pendulum swing, Noah Dobson may have accidentally started that pendulum swing to buy or sell. The Islanders currently sit 7th place in the draft. 7th. There's a couple of good picks in there. As far as centermen go, they're first liners. Okay. In terms of defensemen, there's only one there that the Islanders won't get unless they win the draft lottery. And Matthew Schaefer. He's a number one defenseman. Some of those other defensemen, they could be top 4. If the Islanders land in the top 10, again, you're looking at players who could be second liners, second line centers, maybe first line, depending on where the players fall. We're not getting top 3. There's no way. Unless we win the lottery, that's the only way, Rodney. Even if the Islanders trade away Brock and they trade away Palms, I can't see them being as bad as San Jose for an entire 30-game season. There's just no chance. And before that question even comes up, if the Islanders win the draft lottery, you are back to 2009. You literally have a John Tavares, Victor Hedman moment. And James Higgins, and you have Matthew Schneider. Okay. As of this conversation, I know every Islander fan will want Higgins. I would actually go with Matthew Schneider. Oh no, I knew it. Matthew Schaefer. Excuse me, Schaefer, not Schneider. Sorry, Islanders pun. I would go with Schaefer. Okay, and this is why I said. This is why I said, hey, see, I almost did it again. Schaefer. Okay, James Higgins for right now would be an elite second line center behind Matt Barzal, assuming everyone is still around. Matt Barzal's probably that number one center. Higgins would be elite at the number two. And depending on who his line mates are, he's not a John Tavares where you can just slot him into the number one. He'd be a good number one, but he would be a dominant number two center. Schaefer, on the other hand, is a number one defenseman. Schaefer, along with Dobson, if Dobson's still here, would be lethal. That's also true. That's also true. But you can put Barzal in at number one center when you have to. James Higgins, in my humble opinion for now, is not a number one center. He would be an elite number two. Higgins is not an elite number one. Higgins is not going to be Macklin Celebrini. The kid's got tools. He's got it. But if the Islanders are going to draft best player available, it's Schaefer. Schaefer's going to be out for the rest of the season due to a broken collarbone. Now, having said that, if the Islanders decide to go for it in some capacity, or if they go into a winning streak, and like I said, some of these other teams just sell, they drop, and, 8th, 9th, 10th place falls into the Islanders' lap somehow. The draft picks from 10 through 15, if you're looking at a centerman, you're looking at JG Pageau type. Elite at number 3. JG Pageau in his prime. Elite number 3. Probably could play number 2. Give off a little Franz Nielsen vibe as well. Okay, these guys were very good at number 3. Could play number 2, maybe number 1 if, depending on the team that they're on, or if there's injuries or whatnot. But again, you're still looking at a 4-year window for these kids. Maybe 5, depending on the development. This one's going to take a while. Now, in most drafts, I have always said, usually after 27, it tends to fall off a little bit into like they're more like second round talent still in the first round. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. In this year's draft, from what I've been able to read and research, it feels like right now this draft, second round, starts at around 21st, 22nd, or 23rd overall. There's a lot of changes right now between 15 and 22, 23. Like there's a big section, and that's going to come down to manager's choice. You're not moving Dobson anyway. He's injured. So that takes care of that. Okay, so if you're an armchair GM, let's play this now. Armchair GM time. You have Brock Nelson. You have Kyle Palmieri. They're coveted all over the place, especially Palms. You know he can play well in the playoffs. Are you really giving up those players for just a couple of picks in this year's draft? No. No. What are you looking for? Maybe a 2026 pick? That would be helpful. I think they would be better than the 2025s. Or prospects or players who can help the Islanders now. There we go. Ooh, look at you. Brock Nelson for Kirby Doc. There's a part of me that likes that. For those of you who don't know, Randy loves to play armchair GM 24/7, 365. Every once in a while, he hits that right nerve with me. I don't know if Kirby Doc's the answer though, but that's a premise. One 2025 pick and one 2026 pick. Here's my problem with that. The Devils don't have a first round pick. Minnesota doesn't have a first round pick. I believe the Jets still do. I don't think Dallas does. And that kind of goes hand in hand with what we've been saying. Who's a head case, Robin? Let me know. Oh, okay. Doc. Okay. The Calgary Flames own the Devils pick. That's correct. Markstrom. Rossi, Lambert, possibilities. That would be the direction that the Islanders may go. A 2026 second round pick and maybe a player, not necessarily who needs a change of scenery, but maybe needs the time to show that he can play in the NHL. And because of what I said about the standings, maybe they can bring in a player or two that can keep the Islanders going and make us a prize run. Maybe. I'm still a little iffy on that. If the Islanders were to land a top 10 pick, yes, please. Would have loved the top 5 pick. Let me tell you, Anton Lundell, that would have been my favorite player right off the bat. Anton Lundell, he's definitely it. No. No. And no. So right off the bat, boys and girls, if you're Islander fans, you're looking for maybe a couple of picks in 2026. Maybe some players who can help you now. Ryan Leonard. Wouldn't that be nice? I don't know if these are going to be players that are going to be available. That's the kicker. Depending on where the Islanders finish, I can't believe it. Well, I'm an Islanders fan. None of you should be shocked at this point. Would I be upset if Lou traded this first rounder for a player who could win now, for a player who can help the Islanders now? No, I would not be upset. I would not be upset. It's just the way this draft is working out. Should he do it? Probably not. Depending on what he can get back for both Brock and Palms. It's just the way this draft is turning out. This draft is just going to take longer to develop. And if there's one positive I can take out of this 2025 draft, I won't have to complain about Islander prospects not playing in Bridgeport because these kids are bound for Bridgeport. Thank God. 2026 picks, prospects, and young players. There we go. There we go. No. Oh, I love some of these names that you guys are calling out. I really do. I don't know if they would be available. But the question is now, how bad does Minnesota want it? How bad does Winnipeg want it? How bad does New Jersey want it? And we've said this before on the show. The Islanders are missing a few players now from the 2022, 21, 20. Holmstrom's the only one from 19, so you could probably use another one from there. McLean and Dobson are technically from their ages. They're from the 2018 draft. Siplikov is from the 2017 draft. So you could probably add a player from the 17 draft to about the 20 or 22 draft, something like that. In turn, again, when it comes to the draft, you don't really know until like 10 years later. But in terms of the depth, I would say the 2026 draft is looking better than the 2025. That's a possibility, Craig. That's a possibility, and I'm all right with the Islanders. Again, this is probably the wrong opinion, but because of the amount of injuries this team has sustained, I'm all right with them getting a top 12 pick, a top 10 pick in this year's draft. I'm definitely okay with that. Rodney, we need to flip and restock ASAP. That's true. We have contracts and ownerships that want to be relevant. Of course, solid core of players to build from, of course. But we need to get faster and a little more skilled, no doubt. And that starts this summer. It's going to start this summer. Braden Yeager from the Jets might be an interesting player. He might be. I don't even know if he's available. Again, would Winnipeg be able to give them up? Again, for those of you who don't know the names, don't start Googling them or doing any of the scouting reports. Trust me, these are some sexy names from the draft who have done fairly well in their development. They would help out Robin. Now Robin's messing with my emotions. Damn it. Some of them know how to really dig deep there. That's not nice, Robin. Yeah, I thought about that. I wouldn't mind taking Kuzmenko and Sharagovich away from Calgary, but Sharagovich I don't think has recovered from injuries, so I don't know. But I think the Flames are going to go for it. So, yes, we don't know what Lou is going to do. Okay, we don't know what Lou's going to do. The Islanders do have an uphill climb to take right now, and it may end up being like this. Okay, in terms of the playoffs, and everyone would be correct. However, in order for this to happen and the Islanders to make the playoffs, the Senators would have to be buyers, the Habs would have to be buyers, Columbus, Boston, even the Rangers, the Flyers, the Wings, they would all have to be buyers. And I don't see them all being buyers at the moment. I just don't. If the Flyers stick to their rebuild, they'll be sellers. The Wings, I think, are going to be sellers. So that would move them up to probably move the Islanders up to 12. Now you're dealing with the Rangers, and in all honesty, with the drama going on with them, nothing would shock me if the Rangers just stopped playing after the trade deadline, just to take it out on Chris Drury. The other two Stooges, actually, one works for an accounting firm, so that's not happening. And the other one had some emergency surgery. So both are doing fine. Both will be here soon. Time. I think that's supposed to be time to be aggressive and restocking. Maybe someone's getting reshape roster and restock. It may have already started, boys and girls. Dobson's injury may have already swung that pendulum because it's just back to buy and sell. I can't see Lou holding. The more these teams struggle to get to 94 points to make it to the playoffs, the more value Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri have. And look at that showdown. Winnipeg, Minnesota Wild. They're in there. There's value for Brock Nelson over there. Okay. And if it is true, I haven't gotten confirmed yet with Washington. If Washington is interested in Brock Nelson, that means JT Miller's probably going to Carolina at some point. Right? This is water cooler talk time. Let me be very clear. If that's the case, Brock Nelson, some other teams better start paying up. Will the Islanders consider trading Duclair? Here's my other question. Here, that this is going to be a slight rebuttal. How, in terms of a percentage, how healthy is Anthony Duclair at the moment? Groin pulls, tears, whatever it is, they always take a long time to heal. Is he completely healed? I don't think he is. That's not a knock on him. The fact that they're playing with injuries is always admirable, but with the contract that he just signed and the injury that he just had, I don't think they would consider trading him, unless like some of them, like fans like Rodney, they want to do a complete restock, maybe, but I don't see that yet. Nate Danielson from Detroit, that's a possibility as well. Lose vision as much as I trust Trump. Look, Lou's going to get proper value in hockey. He'll do that. Okay, but if the Islanders miss the playoffs, how much of a sell mode is he really going to be in? Yeah, this is what we were just talking about, David. The 2025 draft is not. It's a long project. It's a project. I would probably look for the Islanders to grab more 2026 picks than 2025. Prospects or players who could help the Islanders now would definitely be a benefit. 50% healthy. I don't think he's going to be that tradable, if that's true. Exactly. Yeah. Robin, oh my God, yes. Yes. Just to tick off Randy. Yes. Hockey News says that Brock Nelson's linked to the Caps. Wonderful. Wonderful. That's fine. Okay. Look, when you have Brock Nelson linked to all of these teams, you're just adding to his value. What the Islanders need to do is make a decision. Unfortunately, Noah Dobson might have made that decision for them. I know this, Robin. I know they're NHL ready. And I would love to have any of those. I wholeheartedly agree. But are those other teams willing to give them up for Brock Nelson? And there's no guarantee that Brock Nelson is going to re-sign with them. That's the other thing. So there's only so much we know, which is very little, which is why only Lou knows. We know this. But this is the fun part. This is why we have water cooler talk. We try to hash it out before Lou actually does it. And if we're close, we're close. We get to pat ourselves on the back here a little bit. But again, throwing Washington into the mix, we're going to throw the New Jersey Devils into the mix for Brock Nelson now. With the salary cap going up to possibly $97 million. Do any of you think Lou's going to re-sign Brock or Palms? Ooh, and that might answer the question. How would you guys feel? And again, this is water cooler talk. This is completely speculation here. How would you guys feel if the Islanders re-signed Brock Nelson, say to a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal? Same thing with Palms. 2-year deal, 3-year deal. How would you all feel about that? Ooh, I like that. Left-handed or right-handed? Not I don't want analysis. I want feelings here. Stop that. Nemec is all right. I would take Nemec. I would give him a shot, but remember, yeah, he's a 2022 second overall pick whose numbers defensively don't work well in the National Hockey League, but they're okay in the American League. There's that difference. But again, a team like the Islanders might benefit him. 3 for Nelly, 1 or 2 for Palms, as long as you're okay with that. Again, with the salary cap going up the way it is, we're Islander fans. We are supposed to expect the unexpected. This is part of it's in your DNA, it is in your blood. Never be shocked by anything that happens like this anymore. 3-year deal for Nelson, 3-year deal for Palms. That's okay. Okay. I don't know if I would go 3 years for Palms. I definitely go 2. Definitely go 2. I think we need a sign and trade for Brock to be moved. Fair enough. I like that. Cap for cap. Okay. Nemec might be on the market. Yeah, I could be. Brock, yes. Palms, no. And I'm going to help Brian out here. Simon Holmstrom has started to really emerge as a middle six forward. I think for the rest of the season, I think if as Islander fans, if you want to do any scouting, scout Holmstrom. He's on pace for 20 goals. So is Kyle Palmieri. Is he going to show you enough that he can be a top 6 forward with the Islanders? If that's the case, you might not be able to sign Palms back, or you may not want to. That's the other thing. That's going to be the big question. Brock already said he wants to test free agency. He has to be moved. We can't lose him for nothing like Pajama Boy. Fair enough to that. Fair enough to that. Again, this is open discussion. If he wants to test free agency, then absolutely you get the value for him. All right, Craig, you're Lou. Who are you trading Brock for? Who do you want? Give us, play armchair GM. Even an idea. That's fine. Not a big deal. I want see, that's just lame, Thomas. Give me a little more here. You've been watching this show forever. Sebastian Aho is with the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. That's where he is. Trade and build for the future. We can get a free agent or 2 with the money. Fair enough. That's another way to do it. That's another way to do it. There's a couple of players in the minor leagues or even in college, 24, 25, 26 years old, may just need a shot, depending on the role that the Islanders want them to play. Trade and build for the future? Sure. Do I want the Islanders to keep all of their picks for 2025? Absolutely. Would I be shocked or disappointed if they traded the first overall? No, I wouldn't be shocked. I honestly wouldn't be disappointed depending on the player that they got back. So here's my thought process so far for this 2025 draft. If they can draft in the top 12, phenomenal. Top 15, okay. Depending on where they fall or land in the overall standings, you're looking at 35, 36, 37, mid 30s pick. Is there someone who fell into their laps, maybe who is someone who is supposed to be in the upper 20s and they drop, I would do that. My third and fourth pick, I would probably go after some overagers, and this would help out Bridgeport. These are kids, excuse me, these are prospects who, at the very least, have a shot at Bridgeport, but they would need a few years of development to get into Bridgeport. And then when they're in Bridgeport, they won't be out of place. That can still happen. And that would absolutely build up Bridgeport. So that way, when players like Camille Bednarik or Iserman or anyone from the 24 class, anyone later on from the 25 class moving forward, when they come into Bridgeport, it's not, the culture has changed for the better. You know what I mean? Third and fourth round, I would absolutely go overagers. In my fifth, sixth, and seventh rounds, especially sixth and seventh round, I would go as young as possible. If there are any 17-year-olds left, and there's probably a few, if they had birthdays in August or September in round 6 or 7, I would probably go after them, depending on their numbers. Why? Because now I'm not only drafting in 2025, I did a little bit of 2024 in the middle of that draft, but now I'm also drafting in 2026, just in case these kids get passed over. But there's something about them where they're really, really young. The Islanders can get them, and it's a longer development. Yes. Yep. That's how I would play this 2025 draft for now. Do we go for picks or the free agent route? Who are the best 25 players available? Listen, wait, are we talking the draft itself or the top players? Um, Free agents, I haven't really dipped into yet. Um, but the top players, you're looking at a top 6, maybe top 7, depending on how things pan out. And those kids are not playing anytime soon in the National Hockey League. 2 years minimum. Trade him for either a 2026 first and an NHL ready prospect, or I would consider trading for a 25 first round pick and then moving both 25 first round picks. Okay. To move top 3 pick, if not already there. Fair enough. Okay. That's a possibility depending on the team that we want to work with. A team like, well, I don't know if we would pass Boston. Maybe the Wings? Maybe the Wings would do that. I'm not sure. But I like that idea. I do not see anyone in Bridgeport right now that is able to make the jump into the NHL team. And you would be correct, David. I will say this with Bridgeport. If there's one player who I think the Islanders should take a longer look at, it's Liam Foudy. I like Foudy. I like his 200-foot game. I like the speed that he has. Um, he's been very consistent for me. The thing with Bridgeport, and this is something that I talk about before I do everything with the draft in June. Actually, I talk about the entire organization prospects um, starting in April, May, and June. Bridgeport right now is on pace to play, I believe, 8 rookies who have played 20 games or more. That's an insane amount of rookies. 8, possibly by the end of the year. 8 rookies. A lot of things have gone on in Bridgeport. And when I do the Bridgeport section, I'm going to be apologizing to all of you again because I may have jumped the gun. My passion may have gotten in the way because I thought Bridgeport was going to be much better than this, and I was terribly wrong, horribly wrong. So you guys are going to get that apology in a few months. But no, for right now, I think it's Foodie. Karlstrom, maybe. But for now, as far as a good 200-foot game, Foodie's there. Speaking of college, Quinn Finley is having a tremendous sophomore season. And what I like about Quinn Finley, guys, is that Wisconsin is not in the top 10. He's on a struggling Wisconsin team, and he's doing phenomenal. That's what I like to see. I know you're all high on Iserman, but Iserman and the school that he's at, BU, they're supposed to be doing that. They're in the top. I want to see Iserman, and even at Team USA, did he come in clutch? Absolutely. But when I look at prospects, the Isles prospects, I want to see how well they do under pressure. I want to see them come in when the pressure's on and there's a clutch. Iserman showed some of that at the World Junior Championships, no doubt. But BU is supposed to win big time. I need to see Iserman continue to win, but I also need to see him in pressure situations, which is why the playoffs for me are phenomenal. Most of my friends know don't even call me when it's the Memorial Cup championships. It's the CHL championships. I'm sorry, the OHL, the WHL, the Quebec Maritime. I watch all of them. I watch the Islander prospects all the time when it comes to the playoffs because I want to see how well they do when they have to really step up. It's a character thing with me. I need to see some of their character in order, and that's why I usually bring them down and I bring my expectations down of certain players. But Quinn Finley right now is doing a phenomenal job with the team that he has. So we'll see what happens with Quinn. Carter Bear. I do like Carter Bear. There's a couple of things. He's a five-tool player. The thing with him, Robin, for right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if he has that one tool that he's really good at using. And I think that's what they want him to do. Be good at one thing, but still use the other. Yes, he is ranked around 20. Where is he? I have him for right now. He's around 24, 25 for me. So yeah, that would be around. We're right on that. Yanni Gord for me wouldn't be a bad UFA. Again, we'll do another show on the free agents if we can get there. To get a high pick based on play, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if the Islanders should tank though. You got to remember they're down here because of injuries. That's going to play a role. But I do agree. I think they should try to get a high pick at some point. Do I think Lou is here behind next season? I think the Islanders again. I have a different view of Lou. It's more on the business side than it is the hockey side. I understand why he has made the moves that he has made. I think if the Islanders officially miss the playoffs, I think everyone's job is on the line. And if we were to play this out and Lou were to just remain in the hockey ops for another year, I think someone else would be in charge of hiring, or maybe he might have a voice, but I think there would be a new GM involved. Maybe. Yeah. Iserman is a few years away. He is. Iserman is definitely a few years away. For me, next season, Iserman, for me, he's got to get another full season in college. I want him to be on the first line left wing for Team USA full time, not just on the power play. And then I want to see him wreak havoc against the rest of the world. And what I mean by wreak havoc, I don't want to see him just score goals. I want to see that 200 foot game. If we see a really solid 200-foot game, okay, maybe he only needs that remaining semester in college. Maybe he only needs 2 years. After that, you still got to send him to the American League to work on the game. 4-1 Devils. And I believe the Devils are playing the Boston Bruins. And there we go again. The Boston Bruins, we don't even know what the Bruins are doing. Yes, Robin. And that's the other thing. Thank you for reminding me. This 2025 draft, if I haven't said it already, they're very young. Okay. I'm old enough where I can say these kids are babies. Okay. These kids are not turning 18 until April, May, June. Okay. Some of them are a little bit on the older side, the January, but they're on the lower end of these, they're the lower end of the first round pick or the upper seconds. But some of these top kids, they're very, very young. I'm talking Simon Holmstrom young, Oliver Wallstrom young. These are prime. The quality of the top 10 is still very good. There's just a lack of depth after that. Tank, play the hand you're dealt. All right, well, let's have this conversation. How many of you in this chat room want the Islanders to tank? I know the players don't want to tank. They want to make a run. How many of you here, raise your hands, want the Islanders to tank? I don't know if this group's going to be here. You don't need anything. You know what you need for the power play? Someone other than Matt Barzell controlling the power play. Do you know how well that power play has been since he's been back, controlling the puck, making those passes? The Island. We'll discuss this at the end of the season, but what bothers me a little bit is that the Islanders are actually doing better with Matt Barzell on the power play. Why is it one guy can change that much on the power play? That shouldn't happen. This is a system that is designed so far, it's looking for one player to control. That needs to change. Mom's boyfriend. Dear God, what happened to your love for Alex Jeffries? Jeffries is still there? Okay, but again, with every rookie, I don't put expectations on any of the rookies that show up. Alex Jeffries, along with Marshall Warren, and I will say this with Isaiah George as well. I want them to learn the grind of the professional season first. Jeffries' numbers are okay. His 200-foot game could definitely improve. And along with Isaiah George, all of you have already seen this. And this includes Jeffries. They need a good summer of conditioning to get them properly set for the upcoming season, because now they understand what they need to do in the gym, what they need to do in the off season to get themselves ready for a professional season. They can be told whatever they want. And yeah, most of them are coachable. They're going to do what they ask, but until they actually experience what a full professional grinding season really is, it's a different cat. And right now, Alex Jeffries is putting up some very good numbers. He's on the first line with Pino and Chris Terry. He's even playing some penalty killing time, but he's learning the pro game. Do I want to see him in the NHL this season? Absolutely not. Love for Jeffries is still there. I like what I've seen so far, but I'm not loving what I've seen so far. He knows he's got things to improve. Conditioning will be one of them. Don't want to tank, but be smart about moves. Okay. Randy wants everyone to tank. No, believe it or not vodka. I'm not in that mood yet, Tommy. This is alkaline water. Not yet. Not yet. And that's fair. In all honesty, I completely forgot about that. It was just a thought of, would you guys bring Brock back? If it were up to everyone playing armchair GM, but now you got to get value for Brock. That's it. So, and again, Noah Dobson's injury may swing that pendulum to sell. Who knows? Yeah, tanking's not in the team's DNA. The players want to win. It may just work out that they just can't find a way to win, and they have a high draft pick. That's it. And sometimes I'm okay with this. It's an injury plagued season. It's been an injury plagued season for both New York and Bridgeport. Decimation, plague, whatever you want to call it. That's happened to this organization. It's a good time right now to do one more retool before making another push. What happened to the beautiful give and go between Dobson and Barcel? What do you mean, huh? What play? I want the Islanders to make the playoffs and win the cup, but that is an unrealistic and dumb comment. No, it's not unrealistic. It's not a dumb comment. It's just not there yet. They're not there yet. That's a comment that is always for this right here. It's never a dumb comment. But it's going to take the Islanders a little longer to get there. Look, guys, the excitement for Alex Jeffries is there, but I'm gonna be I again, Gary and Joe will say this until they're blue in the face. I'm very tough on prospects. I've learned my lessons. Look, if I could tell you the names that I thought were going to be NHL players, it's embarrassing. Okay, I've been down this path. My excitement for Jeffries is there, but I don't want to see him up in the NHL right now. He's learning the professional game. And you got to remember, when you're in college, you're only playing 40 games a year, roughly. If you get into the playoffs, the Frozen Four, maybe you hit 50, 55. Okay. It's not like the Canadian League where you get to play 60 some odd games, but you're not traveling as far. College, you're playing about 40 games a year, but you're traveling. It's a little mix between everything here. For Alex Jeffries, for me, what I'm really going to scout him for is to see how he plays beyond game, call it 35, 40, moving forward here. How many points does he score? How is his 200-foot game? Because now his limits are being tested. He's never played over 40 games in a season. Now his limits are going to be tested. This is where I want to see him at least keep up. If he can do that, I will be very excited for him in another season or two. But not to pull a Kobe here, but the season's not done yet. So I'm cautiously optimistic with Jeffries, but this is where I really get to watch where some of these prospects are going to go. My excitement for Jeffries is still there. Don't get me wrong. As far as I'm concerned, Gatcomb's wearing Jeffries' numbers. I haven't said that on X yet, but Jeffries wears number 16 on Bridgeport. I'm hoping Jeffries gets to wear 16 when he's a New York Islander, but that's going to be something else. Yeah, yeah, and you know what, Tommy? I put the Islanders at either 5 or 7 games. I'm not even looking at the next 9. With Dobson being out this long, everybody in here knows you need offensive scoring from your defensemen. If you don't get that, you're not winning a lot of games. And now you don't have Mike Riley, you don't have Noah Dobson. You got to rely on Pellick and Pullock. This is going to be a very tough run, and this is why it's probably going to end up looking like this instead of this. So, it no doubt it's going to be tough. 3-0 Jackets. You know what? Joe's loved Hutton since day one. I have liked Hutton. If the Islanders miss the playoffs, officially miss the playoffs, I want to see Samuel Bolduc get another shot. He's got more offense than Grant Hutton. Okay, there's granted some of his defense is still lacking in Bridgeport, but I got to tell you, um, offensively he's putting up all the numbers. Maybe getting sent down was a wake up call. I don't know yet, but if you're not going to play Samuel Bolduc, you can trade him too. That's it. Samuel Bolduc can absolutely put up more offense than Grant Hutton. Yeah, well played. Gatcomb is playing with number 16. So if Gatcomb doesn't play next season, maybe Jeffries gets number 16. We'll see what happens. Well played. I know. So yeah, that's it. So listen, any other questions, comments, concerns? Listen, it's Washington, I guess that's opened up now. We're adding New Jersey to the list of Brock Nelson. Um, Palms is still in there for New Jersey as well. Um, it is what it is. Again, with the standings the way they are and the way things are shaping up, I was really kind of getting in the mode here of always believe, why not? Okay. But it might turn into this with Noah Dobson's injury, especially if it's long term. And with the 2025 draft the way it is, if you are the Islanders, you just don't want 2025 picks. Maybe 2026. Maybe some players and prospects who can help the team out now. That would be beneficial. If you could trade Brock and Kyle Palmieri for prospects or picks right now, prospects and players to help you now, and then you draft the 2025, I think that would be a win for the Islanders. He does play a physical game. I agree. If Gatcomb is here, I want to see him play longer. And we're getting that right now, folks. You're all into a scouting mode. And that's your homework assignment for the rest of the season. Scout the players that you like, bring it back to the show, and we'll talk about it. I do like Gatcomb's physicality. I believe it or not, Gatcomb for me was doing very well in Bridgeport with the role that he was playing. And again, for everyone bashing Bridgeport, let's think about this. Foudy didn't look out of place. Gatcomb is looking pretty good. You got Isaiah George. That's a nice surprise. Okay. It's not all bad with Bridgeport. It's just the fact that the veterans who are used to playing with a veteran coach, they're doing well. It's the younger players. And again, 8 rookies playing close to 20 games this season or more. They're struggling. It's their first year. So, and along with other issues going on, but that's just the way it is. So the Islanders are holding on. I'm going to go the next 5 games, guys. If the other teams in the Eastern Conference decide they can't reach 93 points, maybe it turns into 7, maybe it turns into 9, who knows? But, moving forward for the rest of the season, whether the Islanders do well or whether they fold, scout, watch these games, scout these players, and let's talk about it. Let's look at Holmstrom. Let's look at Gatcomb. Let's look at McLean. Let's look at some of the younger Islanders who may still be here. What kind of a future you think they have? So on and so forth. Delius, I will say this. I'm seeing a difference in him the second half of the season. I really like what I see out of Odelius. The first half of the season, no doubt, struggled. Right now with Odelius in the second half, I'm a little more optimistic. But again, those big steps are all going to be about conditioning over the summertime. But we'll get into Bridgeport as the year goes on. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Interesting chat here tonight. But yeah, this is a very weird Eastern Conference. It is honestly the weirdest one I have seen now, and I've been doing the percentages now for like the last 10, 12, 15 years, whatever it's been now. Far too long. Will I be shocked if a team only needs 89 points to get into the playoffs? No, I won't be. If the Islanders still had Noah Dobson, could the Islanders rack up close to 89? Maybe. Maybe. Again, there's that hurdle. But like we talked in the beginning of the show, I don't know if these other teams really want it. I don't know if they're all going to be buyers. They all have their separate plans. But having said that, if the Islanders are officially eliminated, we know there's interest in Kyle Palmieri. We know there's interest in Brock Nelson. If you're looking for value, and that's what Lou's going to do, you want to look for players and prospects who could play even in Bridgeport right now. And then you draft fully in 2025, that's a win for the Islanders. And if you want, we'll talk about unrestricted free agency, probably after the trade deadline. Let's see who signs after the trade deadline, so on and so forth, and we'll have fun with that later. Miller or Horvat, rumor true? No. No. You know what we do, Tommy? Believe it or not, who's got more value? I think Hogberg has more value at this point than Varley. I'd pull a New York Rangers. I would trade Hogberg. If you're going to put Hogberg with Nelson in a package, now you're adding more value. Again, this is still water cooler talk. I'm just throwing it out there. If Hogberg has more value at the moment, you want to package him with either Palms or Nelson. Okay, depends on what you're getting back now. I don't know Varley's status, so that's why I'm kind of going with that. Bang for the buck. Absolutely. Get that value. Varley at the moment doesn't have a lot of value. Maybe they bring back another goaltender who can play in the American League that you know is going to clear waivers. There's another one. He can help out Bridgeport next season. He'll clear waivers, and then you ride Sorokin and Varlamov for another time until there's another third string goalie who can carry them. I think you got to run with that process. I know. Yeah, we know this. Yeah, yeah. I think he meant. Yeah, no, that's just not happening. So, yeah, why not? But there we go. Those are your injuries. It happens. This is just a season that's happening, folks. Good show. Again, watch the next couple of games. And if things end, it ends, but continue to watch the younger players. Let's watch for their maturity. Let's see if there's anything that comes up that we haven't seen before. I'm not going to try to say, be all positive and whatnot, but, there are some things, to look forward to at some point. And believe me, I'll get into the draft. Absolutely. This might actually be a very easy draft for me to follow. The second round might be a little difficult. After that, forget that. I ain't doing third, fourth, fifth, or sixth round again. Not in this draft. I heard they will ask Varley to waive his no move, but like you said, no value. Yeah. So beautiful, guys. Thank you for so much for coming on. Listen, we've been getting a lot of people following us on Facebook now at Isles Talk. Follow us on X on Isles Talk. You can follow me at P_Kreischer on X. And please like and subscribe to the Isles Talk show. on YouTube. The numbers have been going up. I got to tell you, the numbers have been going up. The conversations have been phenomenal. This is why we still do the show. We're not going to badmouth anyone, except for maybe Randy, because Randy loves to tick me off. But oh yeah, things are going to happen with. Yep, no doubt. But again, we love having these, just these open conversations. We're bringing you into the show. The conversations are phenomenal, which is why we do it, and we come up with these ideas so that way it just makes everyone think and talk Islanders hockey. So again, thank you guys so much for coming on. Greatly appreciate it. Hopefully, we'll have Joe back on next week, and he's going to give his thoughts on Brent Sutter and anything else going on. Boys and girls, thank you again. Let's go Islanders, and we shall see you next week.